from the heart of Dubai, where tomorrow is being built today, to the world. Welcome to the CTO Show with Mehmet. Here, we redefine technology and reimagine possibilities. With Mehmet, delve into the riveting realms of AI, cybersecurity, and digital technology. Experience the thrilling highs and lows of startups. Immerse yourself in the spirit of entrepreneurship and witness the future of business innovation being written in real time. Now, without further ado, let's tune in and explore the future.
Hello and welcome back to a new episode of the CTO Show with Mehmet. Today, I'm very pleased to be joined live from Canada, Kamran. Kamran, thank you very much for being on the show today. Can you please introduce yourself and tell us what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you very much for having me today, Mohammed. My name is Cameron. I'm from Montreal, Canada, and I run Sora Tech Consulting. We're a small consulting company that focuses on AI and workflow automation. I would say we're more specialized working with startups and SaaS companies, and we're kind of slowly expanding towards marketing agencies, creative agencies, branding agencies. But our bread and butter is mainly small tech startups and mid-sized SaaS companies. And I guess the reason also being it's because I had come from that background.
Okay, so what brought you into tech world, Kamran?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the main reasons I would say is just because I come from the opposite of what the tech world is. I originally used to be a mortgage broker, so I was in financial services. And we were very antiquity. We were very old school when it came to technology, but I was the opposite. I was the only one looking for different technology, different CRMs, different tools to make my business better, right? But a lot of people weren't, which was really funny because technology just makes things easier for any business. Nobody can deny that, but still there are so many businesses out there that just don't adopt it. So kind of looking into different SaaS companies, SaaS tools, I ended up actually leaving the mortgage business altogether. And I joined an enterprise software company that kind of deals with big companies all over the world and their supply chain risk management side of things. So that's kind of where I started learning about software and SaaS in general. And because I had that sales background, that's kind of like where I ended up learning a little bit more about the different types of companies out there. And then from there, I moved on to another startup, worked for a big $1 billion big tech company. And now I decided to kind of go out on my own and help other businesses find different technology, different tools, and how to best utilize them.
That's a great story actually, and a little bit, yeah. Now, by the way, I'm seeing a lot of more people converging from other fields, and actually, especially in the field you are into today, Kamran, I think you have an edge, and the reason you have an edge because you've been on the other side of the desk, so you understand the problem. You understand how the customer thinks. So this is it's a blessing, I would say. And now let's start to talk like step by step. So when people mix up things sometimes, and um, when especially we talk about digital transformation, right? So in your opinion, with your experience, what do you think are the key steps for businesses that they should take to optimize their operations? Like when if I come to you, like how do you approach, for example, a new project?
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously digital transformation is a huge buzzword these days. And I would say mine is a little bit different because I work with companies that are already a part of the tech world, right? They already understand the value of technology, the value of software, AI as well. And actually one thing I want to mention before I answer that question is also my business partner. He's actually from one of the big consulting firms, PwC, and he specializes in digital transformation. So we kind of work together when it comes to that. So one of the things that we kind of like to make sure before we even hop on a project is making sure that the companies understand their own processes, right? If you don't understand how your business is running, where what you need to do to go from point A to point B to point C and eventually to point Z, there's no point for us to kind of have a conversation from the beginning because you don't even know what the issue might be. So I guess the first step for us is always identifying their processes, understanding how their workflow goes from whether it's the sales department, whether it's the marketing department. So once you really understand how the business itself works and what steps they take to get to a certain result, then from there, we know where we can implement maybe an automation tool, maybe a project management tool, or just AI in general, especially ChatGPT. We found multiple use cases for different departments. It doesn't need to be just a client facing AI tool. It can be internal as well. Right. So I guess the first step is fully understanding their business and making sure that they have the right processes. If they don't have the right operations and the right processes, then it's just a mess from the beginning. It's a whole different challenge, right? So I would say that's the first thing that we do.
That's great and spot on. Like as I was discussing with you before we record that we both come from the same background, and what I would like to do always, because sometimes they say we have a mandate from the company that we need to do X, or we have a mandate to start this project. So what I would like to ask always, okay, you have this mandate, but why? Right? So
Mhm.
why you want to do this? What's your end goal? Like, is it like to have some tangible results from revenue perspective? Is it like to reduce some risks? And always you need to tie things to a number and not just adopt technology for the sake of technology, right, Kamran? So this is what brings me to the next one, because I know you have also the experience with robotic process automation, RPA, and AI. So on a very high level, again, for someone who listening to us or watching maybe later, how are RPA and AI changing the landscape of business operations? Can you, for example, share some real world examples on how these technologies have made significant impact?
Yeah, absolutely. So, one perfect example that because I come from the sales background, is sales teams in general, right? So one thing, especially in like startups and SaaS companies, is that yes, they have a lot of technical people available, but they're so busy building their own products. They don't have time to kind of take care of internal problems. They don't have time to take care of internal situations that might make the business better, right? So for example, a sales team, one great thing that we're able to do is we can implement them something similar like, let's use the Make. It's one of the tools that I like to use. It's kind of similar to Zapier. Yeah. So you understand what it is. It's very similar to Zapier, but I would say it's a lot more powerful and it's way more visual, right? Like me as a salesperson, I could tell you this, I'm not a technical person. Like I don't understand the deeper meanings of technology. Like if we were to go into details on what an API, or actually I understand an API, but like how do webhooks work? How do HTTP requests work? Obviously, I don't have that full understanding at that time. Now I learned it, I understand it, but most salespeople don't, right? So it's hard for them to go to IT or go to the engineering department to ask them to help them integrate Salesforce with one of their other favorite prospecting tools, right? So if we implement Make for them, they're able to do it on their own without always needing to reach out to IT. So one of the benefits there is that they're not losing out on time, right? If they were to do this internally with custom dev teams to do it all on their own, it would take at least 3 months at the bare minimum, even if they are a tech company with a lot of resources, right? But by using Make, they're able to do it within a few days, a week or two max, and they don't need to wait for IT. They can make it work the exact way they want it to work. Now, the second thing is if we were to add AI into the mix, which is something that I set up recently, for a sales team, is that it's important when you get a new lead to reach out to them within a few minutes if you can, right? That's when they're really hot. If you do it a couple of hours later, you almost lost that lead by at least 60% of even being able to reach out to them, right? So we did an implementation where we connected ChatGPT with their CRM system and their email system. So as soon as a lead comes in, based on what they're asking, ChatGPT will send a reply within a few minutes. And sometimes if it's a simple request, based on the information that we provided ChatGPT with their internal docs, it's able to answer right away as well. It doesn't need to tell them, hey, a human will get back to you in 24 hours. So by doing that, we've added more revenue to their company as well, right? And this took a couple of weeks. So I guess, yeah, sorry, just going back to the answer. So that's pretty much one way that we can use it in a very long way of saying things.
Yeah, absolutely. And also myself, as I was explaining to you, um, I find a lot of use cases. And actually, we also, with my business partner, a couple of weeks back. So what we did is like we came up with a virtual scenario, and then we showed the power of implementing such solutions. So whereas we took a fictionary restaurant that they are still using um, pencil and paper to take feedback and surveys, and then we showed like how you can digitize this. Not only that, we added AI to the mix to just show like if you make it into a electronic form, like an online format, you can even let AI do sensitive analysis. Because, and here, for example, this is for the audience. People think that AI is just chat. It's not just chat. It can do much more than this, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
so and by the way, OpenAI can do this. People know ChatGPT the most, or Cloud now. It's not available here in Dubai, but I know in the US, Canada, and the UK is available. But anyway, so I showcase that it can do sentiment analysis, and the use case I gave: if someone leaves you a 3-star on the review, because 3-star, what is the 3-star? Is it good or bad? You know, and
It's neutral.
the way
It's neutral.
it's neutral, but the way you can have some idea is if the guy left, in the comment something there. So you can ask AI to analyze this, and then, okay, if let's say someone wrote the food was miserable or your staff were very rude. So, and what we did is like we made OpenAI, go and analyze this, and then send, if it's something bad. If it's something good, we said don't do anything. Like some manager will come and see the report at the end of the day. But if it's something bad, immediately send an email maybe to a manager or someone who's in charge. So guys, like, you need to be into this. Come to Kamran, come to me. We can show you how you can, mix the things upside down, I would say. Now, I know that you're fan like myself in no code platforms. So
Yes.
how do you think, these no code platforms are enabling business to be more agile? And which one is your favorite tool? I would ask you this as well.
Yeah. So I guess to answer the first question, no code tools are extremely powerful these days. Like I have seen even devs, people that already have coding backgrounds, take advantage of no code tools just because it's faster, right? You don't need to start everything from scratch. It just makes things much faster and it's usually cheaper, right? Compared to hiring a dev at $100 an hour, you can buy the software at a couple $100 a month and it'll do most of what you would need it to do if you find the right software, right? So it's both cost effective and it's extremely fast. I have a lot of favorite no code tools. So I, I I have a whole list, but if I were to pick I guess I'll give you my top three. Let's go with that just because
Yeah.
I have so many. Yeah. I guess my first one would be Make. Honestly, I find it so powerful. It's so useful being able to integrate different applications together. It just makes your job so much easier because there's this new problem a lot of employees have these days is that they have to juggle so many different software applications to do one simple thing. So this makes it easier. The second one that I love talking about, and it's a little bit of a newer no code tool, but it's growing extremely fast here in North America. It's called Smart Suite. It's very similar to Airtable. I'm sure you've heard of Airtable most likely.
Of course.
Yeah, so it's very similar to it, but they're a lot more powerful in terms of not just being a database, but also as a project management software as well. It can kind of replace two softwares at the same time. It can work like Airtable, where it's a database. You can replace Excel with Smart Suite, and you can use it to project manage, which would replace anything from Trello, Asana, you name it, Monday.com. So that would be my second top favorite. And the third one is actually a no code AI tool. And like you just mentioned, AI isn't just a chatbot. And this is my third one because it's completely different. It's called Akkio, Akkio, AI. So what they do is they have multiple ways of helping you, but one of the main ways that I use it is helping sales teams use AI to forecast the revenue or to report on sales metrics. All you have to do is literally plug in the data from HubSpot, or if you're using Pipedrive, or if you're using some other CRM, you just plug it in and the AI will do all the work to find out the approximate revenue by the end of the quarter, by the end of the year, or build out the sales report without you needing to do anything. And for sales leaders, that takes a lot of time usually. So this is another super powerful tool.
That's amazing to know. So Smart Suite, what was the other one, Kamran? Though
Akkio.
Okay, so we're gonna put all the links later if someone wants
Yeah.
to yeah. So for me, honestly, yeah, make is amazing. And Airtable, because I'm more familiar to it. If I want but um and Softer. So Softer is one of my
Yes.
favorite ones as well. And I've worked with a couple of people, and we were able to really do an MVP, full-fledged MVP for multiple ideas. Of course, like anything deep tech, not, of course, no code tools,
Yeah.
not the best, but anything which is more like a, let's say, marketplace, directory, CRM, customized CRM kind of solutions. So yeah, you can get it in no time. I would tell you. So, and the beauty of the technology now is like the integration is much easier than before. Still, but you will need someone to put the secret sauce, like what Kamran does or what I do. So, uh, so when it comes, yeah. So if you want something, like more sophisticated when it comes to automation, so here where you would need something, as Kamran was explaining, APIs or web hooks and all these things. So yeah, like here where it's not hard, but I mean you need some expertise to help you. But still it's much cheaper than as you were mentioning, and I repeat this on the show, guys. If you have idea and you want to validate it, don't spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on MVPs. Um Today, like either if you want to go do it yourself, you can, but you can reach to a lot of people, same like Kamran or myself, where you can develop it in like I will not tell you how much, of course, but I mean you don't have to pay all this money. And the beauty is like you can pivot much faster. So yeah. Um Now, Kamran, you talked about increasing and boosting productivity. Right? Like can you like little bit discuss the strategies and tools that make this possible? I know like we discussed make and this, but I mean when we say like we help them in productivity, so let's again take a scenario. So where, for example, the productivity increased up to 50%. So what do we mean? What we do?
Yeah, absolutely. So the one thing I always like to do is understand how much time it's taking them, what it's costing them, and how they're doing it currently with their current processes and system compared to after later on, once we do the switch, once we kind of go through implementing new technology and revamping their whole processes, it gives us a good idea of what the difference is in terms of productivity gain, right? So like you just said, if it goes up 50%, the amount that we can save a company is exponential. So a quick example here would be, I'll use a salesperson as an example. Again, it's just my specialization. Let's say you have a salesperson, they make on average $100,000 a year, right? If we include maybe a base salary plus commissions, that's their average salary. Now, if they're spending an hour a day to do data entry, right? They have to manually put in the lead's information, the notes about the deal, things like that. And it's taking up an hour of their day. If we're able to reduce that by 50%, the amount that we can save them is at the bare minimum half of their own salary, right? Now they're able to produce more and we've saved them more time, resulting in more revenue. So I guess if I were to kind of use just abstract numbers, that would be the best way to explain it, is that once we understand their current processes and systems, We find ways of using technology to make it faster, better. And then based off of the numbers that they're currently using with their salary, their timing, everything like that, we know exactly how much we're going to save them and how much more they'll make if we're targeting sales and marketing departments, right? Like I just said, with the salesperson's example, because data entry takes up so much time for a salesperson, and that time can be used to prospect. That time can be used to close more deals, right? That's the potential revenue that they're losing and the amount of time that they're wasting, right? In terms of their hourly wage, which would be around $50 an hour. So yeah, that's how I would pretty much answer that question.
Yeah,
I hope it
sure.
answered the question. Yeah.
Yeah, you did, Kamran. But where do you see, sometimes there are mistakes that companies they do when they try to implement automation and how it can be avoided?
Yeah. So the biggest thing I would say it's change management. When you have, especially me, when I work with generally mid-sized companies, you have a lot of employees with different backgrounds. Some might not be comfortable with technology. Some might be very comfortable with technology, but they like their current tools. So the biggest success that I've seen, the best way to make sure that the implementation goes well is having a proper change management strategy. And just to give a quick idea of what change management is, it's making sure that the the upper level executives make the employees, middle managers, and lower level employees fully understand the reasoning behind the new technology, the impact with the new technology, and how it'll make their lives easier. Right? Executives know that for them, in the end, it's going to be their bottom line. Right? It's going to be either reducing costs or increasing revenue if we're going to implement new technology in most cases. But the regular employee who's going to use it every day doesn't really care. Like if we make $50,000 more or if we save $100,000 per year, right? They don't care about that. They care about their paycheck and their day-to-day lives. So change management is making sure that they understand the reasoning behind why it's important for them to use it and how it'll make their jobs easier and better. So I would say that's the main thing between a bad implementation and a good implementation. It's generally just adoption of the new technology, right? Making sure that they're comfortable and they understand the value with it for every level of employees.
Yeah, 100%. Change management is something very important, and this is where you need also a couple of advice from my side. Also, you need like the buy-in from everyone. Yeah,
Yes.
because you are changing. By the way, even if you are simplifying things, um, humans usually they are resistant to changes. They don't like
Change.
to change because different reasons. So you can read about it. There are a lot of books that explain, but on a high level, us, as a human beings, we resist changes because of fear. We are afraid of the change, and this is something in the brain. So the way to do it is to get the buy-in from everyone. So the leadership, of course, will have the buy-in, and then the managers, and then the people who gonna interact on daily basis, and then you need to show them, as you mentioned, Kamran, as well. Like you need to show them the benefits and why it's for your um better. I would say how you call it, like yeah, it's for your best outcome, maybe for the best
Interest.
interest. Yeah, exactly. It's for your best interest to adopt this, because your life will become simple. And by the way, guys, like here I want to touch on something, if you allow me, Kamran. Guys, like these
Of
automations
course.
will not replace you. They will. You still need. We still need humans to do the job in a way. So, but you will be using more your brain than using your fingers, doing data entry, for example. So, um, and now it's kind of a cliche, I know, but AI will not change. It will just change. You need to be able to use the AI to be able to continue your job. So the AI will not replace you in the job, but it will replace who doesn't use AI in their job. So this is what everyone is saying now. Um, so, to like little bit touch base on this part. Um, when I was preparing and I went over your profile, so you mentioned something that grow smarter and not just bigger. So how, can you explain this philosophy?
Yeah, absolutely. So grow smarter, not just bigger. So what I mean by that is when a company is looking to scale, at a certain point, it becomes hard to justify the increase in revenue with hiring a new employee, right? Because if you're increasing revenue by, let's say, $100,000 a year, but then your new employee is costing you $50,000 to $60,000 a year, you're losing out on a lot of money every year because now you have to hire a new employee to help you grow the business, right? That's growing bigger. That's the old school way of doing things where if you believe you need to always hire somebody to help you grow the business. Nowadays, you can get away with without having to hire a huge team by just using the right tools and AI with a proper process in place, right? By doing so, to give you an example, if an implementation of new software and AI costs you a one-time fee of $30,000, that means it's able to one, replace a full-time employee that would have cost you $50,000 per year with a one-time fee. And now you're able to continue growing without adding more payroll costs to your business, right? So this is in my definition, that's growing smarter, not just bigger, right? It's finding ways to grow a lean business without the additional expenses that come with scaling a business, right? And that's where I find the biggest power within AI and technology is it's being able to do that, right? Back then you wouldn't be able to do this. If you wanted to do to give you an example, if you wanted to do data analytics, you needed to hire data scientists. Sorry. But now, like the example I gave you before, Accio is able to do that, right? So you can get away from not hiring that $100,000 employee by implementing the software and teaching it to somebody to use it, right? So this is where I see the biggest benefit. Like you just mentioned, it's not AI and technology isn't here to replace employees that are already kind of working for the business, because if they adopt to it, they can 10x their productivity. They're going to be even more valuable to the company. But for companies that are still in that growing phase that don't want to hire, this is the best way to scale your business without rising your payroll costs. So that's pretty much what I meant with that quote.
Yeah, agreed with you, Kamran, on this point. Now, what are the trends that you are seeing? Like, what do you expect to see from automation? Where we might be heading in the very near future, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, there was recently a study brought up by McKinsey and Company, the huge consulting company, about AI um, being able. I think it was by 2030, they say that at least 30 to 35% of companies will have fully implemented AI um, within their business. So that's a huge amount, right? By 2030, that's not even 10 years away from now, where 30% of businesses worldwide will have implemented AI. So that shows that there's a huge trend for the possibility and practical use cases of AI, right? That's one of the trends that I'm seeing now for bigger businesses. I mean, like enterprise companies, right? One of the big tech companies I used to work for, $1 billion company, a lot of people know it, is that they've already implemented AI within their own business and with their product. So that's showing the growth right there, right? And it's only been a few months that the technology is out. And if I were to go to not just AI, but also no-code tools, that's also becoming a huge thing because it's allowing for freelancers to come up with new ways of offering services. It's allowing agencies to build additional revenue streams. So if I were to look at the trend based off of the information right there, you're seeing a lot more people adopting to it. You're seeing a lot more use cases coming out of it, more practical use cases. So that's my general understanding of the trend right now, I would say.
Yeah, that's great. Kamran, what are your advice for fellow entrepreneurs and startup founders? What you can tell them?
I mean, there's so many, but I guess the one thing I would say is just don't overanalyze and just go for it. When it came to my business, for example, AI was brand new. The whole automation space was growing. Before it even became a big thing, I just jumped on it. I didn't think twice, and I started just learning and applying, learning and executing, learning and executing. So my advice would be don't overthink it, and always don't think of finding a business idea. Think of finding a problem to solve. This is where my idea came from. The company I used to work with, we were a $500 million company with 5,000 employees. And my manager and directors were still using Excel for the smallest things. And I'm like, this is taking so much time. So that's where my idea came from because I saw that it was a problem. So don't chase ideas, chase problems. I guess that would be my two advice.
As call to action, guys, if you are in North America and still using Excel and you're still doing pen and paper, reach out to Kamran. If you are living here in Dubai or in the Middle East, reach out to me. I
Yeah,
would say.
exactly.
And I have a final question. Is there anything, Kamran, that you wished I have asked you and how you answered it?
I guess, I mean, you really asked a lot of great questions. If I were to think of one, I guess, where do you see the, I guess, more practical use cases of AI, right? Like we talked about AI in general, but, I guess a
Yeah.
lot of people don't know where to apply it, right? A lot of people don't know how it can be applied, right? People just, like you mentioned, just think it's a chatbot. I guess more practical applications of AI would be interesting to talk about, especially for businesses, but even for regular people. I guess that's one question that would be something that we can dive really, really deep into.
Yeah, just on a high level, if you want to discuss this, that's fine. That's why I
Yeah,
asked this question.
no, it's a great one. I guess, yeah, obviously would depend on the size of your business, but the top three ways that I would look at applying it is if you were to use the Chat GPT chatbot, the two ways to use it is obviously you can implement it on your website to answer customer service inquiries. You can have it understand all of your internal knowledge base, and it'll be able to accurately answer based off of just that information. So it doesn't give out anything wrong. Internally, it's extremely useful as well, right? If I were to use my previous industry as an example, mortgage brokering or financial services, you need to know a lot of different rules and regulations and things like that. If you have a chatbot within your company, you're able to put in all of the different regulations and rules and just use the chatbot to quickly ask it a question like, hey, am I allowed to create a mortgage for this person who doesn't have a job? And it'll give you different advice based off of what the business knows and what the regulations are. So I think that would make it so much easier and faster for employees to search information. And the third use case is like I mentioned, using something like Theo, where it's able to do data analysis for you. You don't need to pay for data scientists and things like that. At least not yet. If you're still a small company, where you can get away with understanding how to do sales forecasting, understanding the data that you have within your business, and how you can use it to make your business grow. Right. That's another very practical application of AI. Is that it's able to go through data so fast, analyze it, and give you information that you need to know based off of that data. Right. A lot of people see that information, raw data, and they don't understand how to use it. Well, this is the best way to use it without paying $100,000 employee. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And on the point that you mentioned about data analysis, I'm waiting for, I think they're gonna bring it soon. So if OpenAI, they bring the API access to their code interpreter.
Code interpreter. Yes.
Oh my God. Like, I think
Yeah.
this will be the game changer there, because um again, maybe I mentioned it before, but if someone is tuning in for the first time, so what I did is just I downloaded some open data which is available on the what's called here in Dubai the land department, which shows you the number of transactions in real estate that happen, and you can specify, the period. So just to make the data small, I said last 2 weeks, and then I downloaded the data in CSV format. I gave it to OpenAI, a code interpreter, and then I said, act as a data scientist and clean the data, show me the trends, and tell me what I can extract from this data. And I'm not a data scientist, by the way. So
Yeah.
and then it started to work. It blew my mind because not first it was able to even correct itself. So because there was one of the fields, it had the parentheses. So it didn't understand first, and then it figured out that this is the currency.
Yeah.
Because the currency here is not a symbol, it's AED. So
It's AED. Yeah.
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 So it understood that this is the currency, and then it said, okay, I'm gonna continue now. And then it started to generate the graph. Of course, because I took a course long back in the day, so I understood, what was happening. So they were using Python actually to do all the libraries that usually data scientists they do. And then they used the graph libraries of Python. They used Panda, they used NumPy, they used all this. And then, oops, I have a full report. And then it said, can you do a summary? I want to take it to an expert in real estate and show me the trends. And it showed me like, what is trending, which areas are trending. It blew my mind. And then, I remember I took a course, it was on Udemy, and I think it was priced at that time for like maybe $200 or something like this. To how to become a data scientist. And they said, oh my God, like now I don't need this. I have someone
You don't.
doing it for me. Yeah, it's
Exactly.
great, 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 great. Kamran, where people can find more about you?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say I'm more active on LinkedIn and Twitter. My LinkedIn is just Kamran, Kamran dash Rahman, Rahman. And on
Mhm.
Twitter, it's the same thing, Kamran X Rahman. I post a lot of content there. I'm always giving different strategies of using AI, how to apply it within your business without maybe needing to hire me. I don't have an issue with that. I love to help businesses as well. But yeah, you can mostly find me on LinkedIn and Twitter.
Sure, I will put the links there, 100%. Well, Kamran, thank you very much for being on the CTO show today. I really enjoyed the discussion. It was so much fun. I hope that a lot of startups and SMEs where, some of the decision makers were listening or watching us today. So guys, really you need to leverage this technology. It's not only because it's cool, because the results
Mhm.
are tangible very fast. I can tell you this.
Yes.
And again, Cameron, like a lot of good discussions, change management, the trends, and all this, they were very good ones. Um, and as usual, this is how I end my episodes. Guys, I'm always looking for your feedback. If you have any question to me or to Cameron, you can just send it to me and I will pass it to him. And if you have feedback on the show in general, also please pass it to me. And if you are interested to be a guest, like Cameron was a guest today with me, also reach out. Doesn't matter. Like you can be any place in the world. We shared the same passion with Cameron, and this is why I said immediately, yeah, let's do it. So we recorded this episode for you. um yeah, and if you have anything you are specialized in, maybe you are into a um ideation phase and you want to share this idea with the world, you want some feedback, like this platform or this podcast is for all entrepreneurs or startup founders. And also you see we bring sometimes also subject matter experts, not only in tech. We bring someone in sales, we bring people in marketing, even we bring some people who are expert in different topics like leadership and mental health and all this, because we understand this is a holistic human approach for entrepreneurship and startups. So I hope you are enjoying, and we will meet again next episode. Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Hit that subscribe button, share the show with your tech-savvy friends and fellow entrepreneurs, and leave us a review on your favorite podcast app. Your support means the world to us.